Good morning. Today we're having outdoor coffee talk. I love outdoor coffee talk. It's my favorite kind. It's also the noisier kind, so that could happen. Have you ever been a member of a cohort? They generally, in my experience, they generally come up when there's an opportunity to have a learning with a group of people. Not always like-minded, but usually coming together for a common purpose. So I was in Seth Godin's Alt MBA. That was cohort number 21. And when you're in a cohort with some other folks, again, reaching towards some common goal, it's not uncommon to find yourself bonding with those people as you are growing separately, but also growing together in a group. Earlier this year, I had an opportunity to go to the Modern Elder Academy in Baja, California, and our cohort was 18 people, and I will always be close to those 18 people because they were very special to me during a time where we were all together and very vulnerable, and those are things that you share, and you can't ever unshare or unknow about other people. So what does it look like if we do cohort-like work at our organization? What does it look like? What could it look like at your organization if you were to put a group of people together for community learning, but also for the express purpose of learning and growing individually? I think there's a certain amount of power in the growth, and I also think there is a certain amount of just camaraderie and community and trust that comes out of those growth moments. Is your organization fit to do that kind of work? Do you have people there that you feel like you could go into a cohort with and trust and build trust with them? I find that when doing the work of building community and culture, there are some people who are really uncomfortable with that kind of vulnerability and that kind of exposure. And no judgments here from me at all. Sometimes we're just not ready to have that kind of close-knitness with the people we work with. And so it's a personal decision for each organization whether that's a decision you can live with, whether it's not. I have found that in having employees and people that work for me, there's always been people I struggled with, and their commitment, their willingness, all those things that we have in our core values that they just weren't bought into. And again, no judgment against them, but sometimes I've also found that those people had to find their way out, and generally they do when you're doing this kind of work. They find their way elsewhere, and sometimes that's great and sometimes it's not so great, and each one of those has to be addressed individually, and we got to figure out what's important to us. What's the end game? What are we trying to do? Are we trying to build community? Are we trying to build trust? What happens when we have somebody who's not a willing partner in that exercise? Do we continue to have 85% of us that trust each other and 15% that we just can't get behind? I don't know what that looks like. That's a question for you. These are the kinds of questions we ask when we're doing this kind of work. What does it look like if, and what does it look like when? And how does that impact your organization? The work I do is not an out-of-the-box solution. There's a lot of questions, and there's a lot of things that we have to consider as we're going into it. But I love the idea of working together as a cohort, as if you guys came together for whatever purpose, if it's your leadership team or even if it's a team inside of your organization that just needs to function together better. What does that look like? How can we obtain a trust? How do we not compare ourselves to others inside? Some people are comparison junkies. Some leadership likes people to compare themselves. They like when people are not feeling secure in their roles. That's not the work I do. The work I do is for people to feel very secure in their roles and to do their best work of their life because they're bought into what they're doing. Fear is not a motivator for me, and would never work with anybody where that's the goal of leadership. So today's question, just summarizing, is what does it look like if your community comes together with a cohort mindset, and how does that function inside your walls, and could there be improvements for everybody and the collective, everybody individually and the collective as well? That's it. Have a great day. Enjoy the sunshine if you've got it where you are. Bye.